Hey guys, what's up? I'm Matt Golson, and this is another Insane Budget Photography. In this case today, we're actually not really looking at photography equipment so much as the PCs, but very important for digital photography. One of my favorite devices that has really kind of been awesome for digital photography is the Windows Tablet PC. And I've been using these for a long time, so let's just look at the history of them really quick. This is a Motion Computing LE1700. Motion Computing was one of the first companies to really just go all out on tablet PCs. So the tablet PC, what makes it a tablet PC is that the PC itself is kind of like a laptop, except for it has to be removable from the keyboard in some way. This has a keyboard, this slides off the keyboard. So I'm not going to slide it off, and I'll tell you why here in a minute. They also use some kind of digitizer pen for input. In 1999, Windows XP released a special version that supported this architecture, the digitizer, the digital pen and ink system. And so I didn't really know about this until I think around 2008, 2009. I was just looking on Craigslist and I found a used Motion Computing 1200 tablet PC, and it was like $100 somebody had. I went and bought it, and I was like, wow, this thing is so cool. So one of the big things I was interested, it comes with it. The Motion Computing used Wacom technology, which Wacom makes the best drawing tablets. So the drawing experience is really, really, really good on these. The Wacom tablet was great for drawing. It gave you a really, really good digitizer with really good clear lines. And so with programs like Autodesk Sketchbook, you could actually create some really awesome digital art without, scanning stuff. So my old process, a lot of times, would be to scan drawings, scan artwork, and then I could put it in Photoshop and with the mouse kind of make corrections, make adjustments. It was so much easier with the pen and ink. The Motion Computing 1200 didn't last very long. I probably had it for about a year, and it started glitching all the time. I found these things were so cheap because they made tons of them and they didn't really last very long. They were so cheap on eBay. I bought a Motion Computing I think it was like an M1400, which was a much better one, but it had crazy problems. It developed crazy problems about a year after I had it. Now, to be fair, I didn't treat these very good. I dropped them a lot. One of the things as an art teacher I found super useful for these things was I was doing PowerPoints, and I could draw notes and write notes directly onto the PowerPoint. Also, as a student, I was using these. I was taking some college classes, and I would take notes. I could get the teacher's PowerPoint, and then I could take notes directly on the PowerPoint too. So really, really, really useful for that digital pen. For me, I love that, just being able to jot down notes. It's like having a digital notebook. For art, for photography, being able to go in and use, say, airbrush techniques, darken and lighten tool, go in and actually remove pixels, select pixels better. I loved it so much better than using a mouse. This was a great tablet PC, and it lasted me, I think I bought it around 2010, and I used it maybe a couple years. I've actually loaned this tablet PC to students to use, to just have just to try digital drawing. Over time, the battery completely just quit working. It doesn't hold any charge now. It has to be plugged in. That's why I can't remove it from this base station keyboard. But if I could remove it from the base case, and it would turn off. But if I could remove it, it snaps into the keyboard and it makes a nice cover for it. And so this was actually kind of useful for drawing because you could it was just a nice position for drawing. So a little bit later, I bought this thing. This was the Fujitsu Lifebook T904, and these were super high dollar. I think I bought this refurbished for about $250 on eBay a few years ago. It did not work out. So this is a little different design. So this is the other big design, is to actually create a laptop computer, but the screen can spin around and snap on like this, and then you got a tablet. It's still heavy, so the old Motions, they were heavy. This thing is pretty heavy. It's not quite as heavy, but it's pretty heavy. But if but you're carrying around the keyboard all the time. Well, most of the time I really didn't even want the keyboard. I'd much rather have a keyboard to snap into. So I was a little disappointed about that. And then the drawing experience, because the screen is kind of it's kind of movable. I didn't find it to be quite as nice of a drawing experience on this particular screen. It quit working on me about 2 years after I had it. The battery, of course, anytime you buy these refurbished old laptops, the battery technology was terrible and they were almost always worn out. So the Fujitsu was kind of a joke. I didn't really care much for it. Didn't get a lot of use out of it. I just recently bought the newest tablet PC, and that is the Surface. Not the newest Surface, because again, I always buy things refurbished. I'm cheap. Got this for a pretty good deal. I think about a third of what it costs new, maybe a little less than a third of what it costs new. And so, of course, you got an iPad-like experience. When iPhone and iPad and the smartphone became the thing, it pretty much made tablet PCs not really worthwhile anymore. The tablet PCs were always clunky. They were never, it was like taking a laptop and trying to turn it into something else. It just never did really work. The technology wasn't there, the batteries wasn't there. This is about a third of the weight of those tablet PCs. It's much, much easier to hold and use. Starts up almost instantly. Only real problem, despite the fact that this is 1,000 times better in almost every way, is that it doesn't use the Wacom technology for the pen anymore. It uses the, I think it's called N-Trig multi-touch. Oh, here's Biddy. Hello, Biddy. With this one, it is multi-touch, and you can use your finger or a Surface Pen, but it's not compatible with the awesome Wacom system. So anyway, they've come a long, long way. They've improved a ton. Finally, this is more or less what I thought the experience would have been when I bought my first, when I first started using the tablet PC. It's a device that actually works. I don't want to buy anything Apple, so I've never bought an iPad, even though I hear constantly that the iPad drawing experience on the iPad Pro is the best. But that's would require me to buy Apple, and I don't want to buy an Apple product. So, all right, guys, it's time to end the video. Mr. Biddy wants some attention, so see you later. Hey, Mr. Biddy. Hey, Mr. Biddy. Hello, Mr. Biddy. He's a good kitty. He's a good kitty, Mr. Biddy.